McClellan at the MTA Symposium 2013. Wonderful honor to be hosting an interview with you, Tom.
It's really great to be here. I usually don't like to travel. I don't like to come to New York, especially because I'm not a big city person. But for the number of speakers and the great quality speakers, I had to make this trip. It's a really good one.
What did you like most about the event, or any particular sessions or ideas that were being shared?
My general philosophy when I come to one of these is, if I can pick up two little pearls, two tidbits, then I'm at break even for the event. If I can get three, I'm running a profit. And so, everybody's got a different style of doing things. Sometimes I don't even get a direct tidbit, a direct idea, but it sparks an idea that I think of on my own. And it's good to be exposed, to be cross-pollinated with other ideas of how people are doing things, to see how I can improve what I'm doing and how I can change what I'm doing and how I can keep up with where the world is going. And so for that purpose, it's really good to be in company of a lot of great minds.
And could I ask you, what part of technical analysis strategies do you like to apply? And if you could maybe describe a little bit about your methodology that you've used and tried and tested over the years.
I like to have a forecast of what's going to happen ahead of time.
Okay.
I want to know what the future is going to hold. At the same time, I know that forecasts don't always work. So I want to have confirming indicators that are going to tell me yay or nay, is the forecast coming out true, or do I need to switch to something else? When I have a forecast that tells me what's supposed to happen, and when I see it happening like it's supposed to happen, then I can trade with much greater confidence.
Sure.
When it's not happening like the script says, I step aside, I wait till the script starts working again, and then I trade. There's 252 trading days a year. You don't have to trade on every one of them.
Sure.
You don't even have to have a position on every one of them. If you can string together 10 or 12 great days out of a 252-day year, you've had a great year. So that's what I'm looking for, is when can I get the right opportunities, when can I max out, and when do I need to step aside?
And so it's the 40-year anniversary that we're celebrating. How do you feel about the anniversary, 40 years of technical analysis, but of course the MTA history? What do you think of that, and what do you think of the future?
I come from a different background. My father is Sherman McClellan. He's here at the conference. My mother was Marion McClellan. The two of them together created the McClellan oscillator and summation index more than 40 years ago. It was back in 1969. Coincidentally, the same year that Gerald Appel came up with MACD, they were on 3,000 miles away on the other coast looking at a different way of looking at two different moving averages and finding the difference without any communication in between. It was just a serendipity thing. So I grew up in a house where the business news television station in Los Angeles, KWHY, that was on all during the day, and charts were around. So I had the great benefit of knowing that you can look at a chart and get information from it. That's not something that everybody has been exposed to early in life. So I had that great advantage, and I ran with it and have gone and done other things. I like to say about my development, my dad and my mom, they did something really good for me when I was a small child. They bought me one share of Disney stock. Now Disney was something that a 6-year-old can relate to, because we lived near Disneyland. I could go there and feel like, hey, I'm one of the owners of the place. And then my mother took me down and said, the amount that you own is, she explained it to me. But I came to understand at an intimate level as a child that the price of a stock changes. Well, that's not something that every 6 or 7-year-old knows. And in fact, my dad taught me how to do a bar chart. We'd get out the newspaper and we'd look up DIS, and I had my piece of graph paper and my pencil, and I'd write and I'd make the bar. And so I knew that you charted that way. Well, one day my dad went on the local business channel in LA, and he took my chart of Disney with him when I was 10 years old. So I like to say that my work has been before the public for more than 40 years.
Sure.
But there was an intervening period where I was a teenager and I knew everything, and so I didn't care about anything that my parents were doing. Only as I got older did my parents get smarter and worth listening to. And so I had a period where I was in the Army for 11 years flying helicopters. It's interestingly, you talk to technical analysts, we all come from a variety of different backgrounds, where we grew up, how we grew up, what class we were in, what educational background we have. It's just there's no consistent thread, but the two traits that I find most often in people who do technical analysis, at some point in their life they studied music in some way. And a lot of us have some relationship to aviation, as a private pilot or as a military pilot or some. And the two things about pilots and musicians is that each group is used to looking at visual information and making a decision based on that. For a pilot, he's used to looking at the artificial horizon and say, okay, I need to get wings level. That's visual information, leads to a decision. For a musician, he looks at the score, he says, okay, the next note is an E, I better get ready to play that, because if I don't play the right note, I'm doing it wrong. And so that adapts very easily to technical analysis, to looking at a chart and say, okay, the chart is telling me this, I need to make a decision based on that. Other people who are not as visual can't adapt to it as readily, but those are the two key traits that I find it so fascinating that I find that those two traits in so many people here.
And looking out into the future, what do you see are the key lessons that you've learned from your past experience that maybe new technicians can learn into the future?
Well, really technical analysis, apart from any other type of analysis, comes down to really some simple principles. Prices trend. Also, they don't, and that matters. So figuring out whether they are trending or they are not trending and what to do about it is very important. And they don't always trend to the point that you think that they should. Value analysts think that, well, if something's undervalued, it should return to the proper valuation and then it should stop. Things go way beyond where they should stop, and they go too far the other way. So price trends matter. Learn to grapple with that. Learn that market timing is okay. My mother said before she died 10 years ago, she had a great saying, everyone is a market timer. Some people buy when they have money and sell when they need money, while others use methods that are more sophisticated. Sure. The timing of a trade is really the only thing you have control over. You don't get to control the price. You can control what you trade, but once you decide on what to trade, the only thing you have left is the timing of the trade. So become the master of it. Embrace it. Go ahead and time your trades, and don't shy away from it.
That's great insight, and really want to thank you so much for being our host interview today, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of the conference.
It's a good conference. Thanks for being part of it.
Pleasure. Thank you.